Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Modern Horizons 3. Without further ado, let's get into the Pack 1, Pick 1. Some sweet options here. The Kozilek's command can be a really flexible removal spell if you have a lot of colorless sources in your deck, so you would like it to be ideally in a pretty Eldrazi-heavy deck in the first place. We can get a bunch of spawn tokens, we can scry a bunch, we can exile a card, and we can do any two of those abilities of our choice, which is what makes it worth the mana cost. So I think I'm going to run with this, but we've got reasonable uncommons like the Metastatic of Angel here, the best mono-colored uncommon, and Emissary of Soulfire is probably the strongest of them all, but it does lock us into a two-color pair right off the bat. Come to think of it, costing double colorless is actually quite restrictive, maybe just as restrictive as just taking a multicolored card, but Kozilek's command is probably a tiny bit better in raw power level. I don't know about that one. I could see going the Emissary or the Kozilek's command as the best cards. Pick 2. Hunger Tide Rises is played decently. You get a bunch of insects, then you sack them to search for whatever you want. Mana value 3 or less creature, generally, but if you have more creatures on board to sack, you can get something real big. Thief of Existence has been pretty mediocre. I've played it multiple times. I've only really gotten it to exile like one card. So it's just kind of a hard to cast 3 mana 3/4 most of the time. Primal Prayers is cool, but you're spending a card just to play another couple cards slightly cheaper. Yeah, so you put yourself down a card to dump your hand a little quicker. Probably not worth it. Great aggro card with Conduit Goblin, but that locks us into 2-color. But honestly, Conduit Goblin's probably my favorite card out of this pack. There's just not a lot here. So I'll go for the Conduit Goblin out of that pack. Pick 3 now. We've got Eldrazi Repurposer. That's a pretty solid way to get 2 spawn off of 1 card to go with Kozilek's command. So now we actually do have something to go with our first pick. And nothing really great to go with the Conduit Goblin. So we'll head in that direction with Repurposer. Although landscapes would be decent options too for colorless, I suppose. Pick 4. Take a Breaker of Creation. Go real deep on colorless spells here. Gains a ton of life when it hits the board because it gains 1 for all of your lands in addition to your other colorless permanents. So it's a pretty big way to stabilize. Yeah, again, the Boros aggro cards don't look great. Probably Area Auxiliary being the best of those. I've been doing a lot of Eldrazi nonsense. Maybe we do get to just go aggro today. Conduit Goblin into Area Auxiliary as the start for that. Plus, I have found Eldrazi to be pretty frequently a very competitive archetype to try to draft over. Lots of people trying to play their giant Emrakuls and Ulamogs and stuff they opened. Take another Auxiliary here. We want to just try forcing aggro on this one. This doesn't even feel like that much of a force, because the best card for an Eldrazi deck is probably the Landscape. It fixes green and red, 2 important Eldrazi colors, while also giving colorless towards command. I'll just take the Auxiliary. Pick 6 is pretty much nothing. We just take a Landscape. This is a red-white Landscape. It's also colorless source for command. That seems the best there. Molten Gatekeeper is a very solid card for these aggro decks, dealing a damage to your opponent every time you play any creature. Although, we are only 1 card deep into red right now, and I have really liked the Riddlegate Gargoyle towards blue-white flyers. Gains a bunch of life on some swings. Good energy producer too. I think I'll take the Gargoyle there, speculating back towards blue over red maybe. And the biggest issue in our last blue-white deck was a lack of interaction, so taking a nice little counterspell could help out with that quite a bit. Plus, one of the best blue energy flyers is a flash creature, so it makes it easier to hold up a counterspell if you have other things to do at instant speed, and blue has some good things to do at instant speed at common. Pick 9, though, goes back to the solid red energy card. Pick 10, random white combat trick. 11, actually Brain Surge is pretty nice. Draw 4, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library. It's easy to get some landscapes with this thing, so you can shuffle away the 2 cards you don't want. And that's a great card to help make it easier to hold up a counterspell. Still have something to do with your mana if you don't cast it. Alright, pack 2, pick 1, really nice energy finisher here. Gives itself Vigilant Lifelink every turn. Well, Vigilance and Lifelink every turn, or it buffs the rest of your board. This is a sweet energy finisher for blue-white or red-white. Alright, well, we're happy to be in white. We get past a Johnny Nicodle Pariah. Excellent, excellent card. 2 mana for a 1-2 and a 2-1. That is just like the worst case scenario, which is just a good stat line for the cost. But if that cat token dies, you also get to flip in a Johnny Planeswalker that gets to spit out a 2-1 cat token every single turn as a 0 loyalty ability. So excellent, excellent card. We will take it over Royal Cartographer, which is a really nice synergy piece. Just because Johnny is just so good up front. We can go ahead and get that Emissary of Soulfire out of this pack now towards blue-white. Actually, Scurry of Gremlins towards red-white, though, is such a finisher. So what are our good blue cards? Gargoyle, Aether Spike, Brain Surge. Our good red cards are Conduit Goblin, and then Somewhat Filler Ironworks, Somewhat Filler Simulacrum. Our blue is definitely better than our red, but Scurry is definitely better than Emissary. It's close. I think our blue's enough better than the red to lean that way here. Grab the Emissary of Soulfire. Now we get to pretty easily take the Hexgold Slith, which goes into either deck very well. Pick 5, well, a couple Solstice Zealots that go into either deck pretty well. There's great removal for the red, but we did lean more towards blue now. That is more likely. Another Area Auxiliary. Seems pretty great. Yeah, there's not much really competing here, just like our Rush of Inspiration, I guess. We could cast that off double blue. Pretty mediocre. Here's another blue-white fixer, the Tranquil Landscape. Demon Inferior, because Decree of Justice is 5 million mana. Ooh, we got a pick 9 Riddlegate Gargoyle. Let's go, Team Blue-White Energy. You know what I just realized? This card is 3 mana maximum. This card's way better than I've been giving it credit for. But I have played it before. I've literally never drawn into it, though. No, that card's actually sweet. Three mana for the tempo-based removal, and like if you cast it the same turn as a Brain Surge, it's literally just 1 mana. So if I have 4 mana up, I can Brain Surge and then Demon Inferior. It is a sorcery, so I would have to main phase my Brain Surge, but it's probably worth it. Seems really good for a deck that has a lot of incidental, just like draw 1 in it. Because making that spell just 2 mana is really good too. Reform is just like a really annoying blocker on the ground. Probably will be one of our first cuts, because without a consistent way to sacrifice it, it's very inconsistent. But for now, I think it's fine. Alright, reasonable removal spell. We have to keep paying for it, though, to actually get it going. We could just be full-on tempo here and play all these Demon Inferiors that people are just going to wheel all the way around to us every time. Play a Deep Analysis to go with them. I have our 5 mana, I can Deep Analysis and Demon Inferior in the same turn really easily. Pretty excellent card draw. Yeah, I'll take that over the other removal spells. Just go all in on Demon Inferiors. Another Riddlegate Gargoyle is beautiful. And it's not really competing with anything out of the pack. Pack 3, pick 3. There's one of those Electrozoas that makes our counterspell, our Aether Spike, a little bit better. But it's also just a really nice flying threat. Flash in and start racing with. Another Aether Spike looks perfect. Now that we've got another little instant for the deck. Plus we can like Demon Inferior and then just spike whatever they're going to play later if we have enough energy. could be nice. I mean, not a great wing it deck, because most of our cards already have flying anyway. The reform is not consistent. These are our possible cuts right now, if we get enough playables. Here's a Serum Visionary that works really well with our Demon Furiers. Again, we'd need 5 mana, but then we'd have drawn a card during our draw step, plus during our turn, so 3 mana for Serum Visionary, 2 mana for Demon Furiers, pretty cute. Definitely better than a Rose Caught Knight, I think. Six. Slap a Unicorn onto one of our flyers is fine. That'll eventually buff up both of the flyers over time. That feels better than a 7-drop Drown Yard Lurker for the deck. Pick 7, there's very nice tempo placed on something down with the Meddler. We can double spell sometimes, but you gotta be able to double spell real consistently for that rare. Or have like other consistent ways to proliferate to make sure it doesn't vanish. This is pretty expensive, but instant speed card draw is probably actually okay again with the other instants we have in the deck. Might actually be slightly better than Deep Analysis. It's 1 less card total, but it's also 1 less mana total, and we don't spend any life. We get a little chump blocker out of it, too. Try some of the new hotness. We go Unfathomable Truths over Deep Analysis here. And Brain Surge as well over them. Ooh, Tempest Harvester is actually super playable for this deck. All right. Looks like a pretty simple deck here. We just need to cut 1 card. I guess we've got a draw 4 and 2 draw 3s. We could ditch like one of these. That's 16 creatures. We could ditch a creature instead also. Probably just like a draw spell or a creature. Fine. I guess the Emissary only works when you're attacking with a creature alone, right? But that's not that hard to do in a Flyers kind of deck. Maybe Unicorn? When we have 2 Flyers on board, this is like really sweet. It's going to buff both the Flyers for +2/+2 over time if they get multiple swings in. I feel like this is not the greatest bestow card ever, though, because we basically never want to play it as a 2-mana 2/2, then it will never mentor onto anything. So it's super bad if we don't bestow it. And then even if we do bestow it, if it falls off, like if they kill the creature it's enchanted to, then it's not very relevant at all. It's just a 2/2 body that, again, doesn't really do anything. Maybe I actually drop this. Because if you treated this as like it's just the aura, just +2/+2 mentor for 4 mana, you would just never play that card. But it's better than that because if they try to kill your creature in response, at least you still get the 2/2. But it's not that much better than that because it's a 2/2 with like no text, pretty much. We're just not playing a lot of 1 or 0 power creatures in here or anything like that. Plus a 2/2 is never going to get in that late in the game. Yeah, and I'll just drop that. Keep it simple and call it a deck here. Here we are on the play for game 1. We got that Riddlegate Gargoyle to get things started. Should make it pretty hard for our opponent to race us. Some flying damage, we can get a big lifelinking swing when we need it. We've got the Unfathomable Truths to hold up while we're holding up an Aether Spike on a future turn. If we top deck a relevant 3-drop, that'd be great, but if we don't, we can still just hold up an Aether Spike, and that's fine. That's just straight up trades for my Gargoyle, right? Yeah, that's fine. I have a Storm Drake now. Hexproof from abilities. But they have the lifelink enabler. They basically played a slightly worse Riddlegate Gargoyle. They got 2 energy left over. Now Auxiliary has nothing to support onto, but they're also stuck on 2 mana, so jam it out, right? Get that damage in. Dog, Umbra. He got that dog in him. That's sad. Uh-oh, land 3. Emissary of Soulfire. I'm not under much pressure here. It's pretty reasonable to hold up Unfathomable Truths. You can have that. Get 1 more Exalted on the board. Oh, I guess 2 more actually, because it only costs 2 to give the Exalted. They could give a creature double Exalted and it would trigger twice. One mana from Greatness. I'd really like to get the Emissary and the Gargoyle down while holding up Aether Spike. Like, I want to play 3 spells here, but I can only play 2. Got the Deem Inferior, so I guess I'll just Deem Inferior their next play and Aether Spike the one after that. Because they're so stuck on mana, Aether Spike is still going to be super relevant. Oh right, I have an Eldrazi spawn. So I have enough mana. Never mind. I probably should have dumped a bunch of energy into Exalted stuff while I still could. Well, that can't resolve. I'm not reading all that, but that can't resolve. They don't have an Eldrazi spawn, do they? Nope. Alright, they gave it their final Exalted. We get to have Exalted and Lifelink. They have to attack with only 1 creature each turn, so it doesn't really matter what I bounce with Deem Inferior. I guess I bounce the Kite itself, but then they start attacking with Inventor. But I get rid of 2 Exalted triggers by killing the Germ. Yeah, this feels really good, actually. I could bounce the dog thing, but I also want to attack with only 1 creature, so... Yeah, now they only have Exalted 2, which is huge. Alright, we'll spread the Exalteds out. But I think we put a couple on the Airy Auxiliary. Since that is a card they're just not gonna kill. Woo! But I do need to get 1 lifelink swing, I think. So we'll save 2 for 1 lifelink swing. But after that, just attack 2 more times and win is the plan. There's their own Riddlegate Gargoyle. No, so now they get a lifelink swing. Arena just does not know how to put you against a deck that isn't the exact same as your own sometimes. They hit for 4 next turn, yeah. Probably cash in the lifelink here. Because the way Exalted works is it's not like there's one creature I want to tap down every turn, because whatever they attack with is going to get all of the Exalted buffs. So Zealot tapping things is actually not that exciting. They've got the Serum Visionary too. It's like literally all the same cards. We don't have a Riddlegate Gargoyle. Or not a Riddlegate, sorry, a Genku. I got all mixed up. Or a Volatile Stormdrake. Their deck is just our deck, but with bomb rares? God dang it. I think we just lose to that. Flying Lifelink. If our modified creature you control attacks, double all the counters on it. Then for each non-token permanent attached to it, create a token copy. So they're doubling up all the whatever counters. I guess if I top deck a way to make energy, can tap that down. I have to discard cards to do it. So I have to top deck energy producers for my Zealot now. Because now there is a relevant card to tap. Well, there is an energy producer. If I tap it down now, the Gargoyle hits for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is not lethal. Their Exalted attacks just keep getting worse and worse. Okay. We are happy to see the card I was going to tap anyway being the card that gets bestowed. Decline lifelink so we can save the tapper. We are dead to removal, but otherwise we win, I believe. We tap the Sky Captain, discarding the planes. We chump the attacker. If it's lethal. If it's not lethal, we let it in. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be lethal if they just send in a 2-2. Yeah, a 2-2 is a 7-7, so we have to chump here. But then we have a lethal crackback if they don't have removal or a flyer. Well, there's the flyer, but I can tap it down with the zealot. Still. There's the concession. Okay. We win the mirror match against literally just our deck, but with bomb rares. Super, super close in the end, though. Really good work from the Solstice Zealot overall. Alright, here we are for game number 2. We're not starting till turn 3, but the hand's not a mulligan. We've got good mana in it. We draw any creature to play turn 2, then the hand will be great, because having 2 creatures on board before we cast the auxiliary is always great. Well, we did draw another creature, but it's not the 2-drop we needed. Another auxiliary. I think we just go into the sky here. I guess Emissary is an option for if we don't top deck a land. So now, if I want to hit a land drop, I have to Brain Surge here. Means not putting any more creatures on board. I don't love it, but I really need to hit lands, so I will do that. There's no land in the top 4, I'm going to have a really, really bad time. Because then I just have to tuck away 2 more spells that I can't even cast. To redraw in the next 2 turns. Come on, land, land. There we go, land, land. So we need those in hand immediately. I'm not going to play multiple auxiliaries in a row, so we put those on top. I guess I can Demon Inferior for 1 mana, but it hits only non-lands, so all I can do is kill their Eldrazi spawn, which is not worth it. Territory Kohler, a big reach creature. That I will hit with a Demon Inferior. Which means I just hold up an Aether Spike for the turn. That's all I can do with 2 mana. I want to attack with Electrozoa this turn. Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to get swinged at by a 7/5. You just deal with that. I don't think it's better to, like, start spreading a wide board for these auxiliaries right now. We just deal with that immediately. Ooh, Zwag, if I counter that, I don't have the counter spell for the Kohler. But I do get to have an energy left over. I mean, they don't have the mana for the Kohler if they don't play a land this turn. This might be bad. Alright, they don't have the mana for Kohler. They didn't play a land that turn, which means they just did not have a land to play. Fathomable Truths now? There's more flyers. The only way Electrozoa gets to attack again next turn is if I play Emissary. That's probably the actual line. And then we start slamming down auxiliaries. A little awkward. And then it's probably better to save the energy than just get 1 piece of Exalted right now. Alright, cool. They are stuck on mana. Now we get big auxiliary plays. We have multiple creatures on board. Okay. Main deck, destroy target flyer. I guess it's got the reinforced backup plan, so fair enough. Alright, so now I can auxiliary up the other auxiliary and get an exalted counter here to attack in. Exalted on the emissary because the flyers are the most important creatures. So we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket by giving all of the flyers exalted abilities so that they reduce our exalted count while killing our flyers. Horrific Assault is pretty horrific for us. It gains them life and deals with one of our creatures. Here's another auxiliary, so that the first auxiliary can attack in again here. Unless they drew some more instant speed interaction for the turn. And they did. Yep. Great. Here's Hexcold Slith. And we pass from there. Territorial Kohler just goes runner, runner. Draw a card on the edge of the battlefield triggers. Instead of the Surveil. There's our Demon Furier, which we can do for 1 mana. Threaten's lethal here. Because the Siege Gang Commander is not big enough to kill one of the flyers that can do 2 damage. They need like another one of those destroy target flyer spells. Where we are dealing 7 in the sky. Alright, we're dealing 7 in the sky. Was expecting big recoveries from just the really sturdy blockers, but if we can keep finding more of that tempo removal, we can get things out of the way and we can wrap that game up. We are now 2-0 heading into game 3. Alright, here we are for game 3 on the play. We get to try out our Johnny, Nakatl Pariah. Curve out from there.
Teamwork triumphs.
Okay. That's a pretty good deal for me. Just get a 2 for 1 there. We get a 2-1 and make them discard Galvanic Discharge. They spend another removal spell. I am like the world's happiest camper. Oh my god, yeah. Spend a deal 3 on just a 2-1 body? Let's go. Need to hit more lands, so I'm actually going to just start with Serum Visionary here to kind of lock that in. Draw a card plus Scry 2 should be real likely to help us hit that mana. Actually, with a Petrifying Meddler coming up for 5 as well, we might ditch these. Looking for just even more mana. But we have plenty to do at 4 mana. Having one of these would let us like cast this plus a 3-drop once we have 5 as well. I don't know. I think I'm still going to ditch these. Aether Spike. Well, I do have the instant speed creature to go with the Aether Spike that we were talking about. So let's just do that combo. We've got a free way to hold it up. Whenever they get 1 or more energy, they deal that much to any target. That's probably pretty concerning, right? Yeah, if they get a single energy, they kill Electrozo at that point. It's probably not something we can let resolve. I've got the 5 mana, but nothing to stun with the Meddler. I still just play a 4/5? No, Electrozoa is just one less power. And we get to save the relevant cast ability for later. Play this land, so if I top deck a land next turn, I can cast Auxiliary and Emissary. Really jam in. Alright, they had to shoot themselves in the face to try to find some responses to this stuff, so they're down to 9. They're at 9 life, and we got 9 power on board. Multiple different options to buff them up next turn. So if they discharge Electrozoa, we have 6 power on board. We would need to top deck the land to kill them here, and we did not. So we can still hit them for 2 more damage. Either with Emissary or Auxiliary. I'll go for the Auxiliary to have a flying threat. Same amount of damage at either one we cast. Actually, no, it's more damage to Auxiliary, because if we played Emissary, we'd have to attack with only 1 creature, so never mind. Forgot about that part of Exalted for a second there. Well, if 1 creature gets in, we get there. Let's see. Oh man, I think we had to go for it with the onboard lethal. I could Brain Surge into a counterspell, in worst case scenario still cast Emissary. Okay, didn't hit a counterspell. Pretty big bummer. Well, we just play another flyer, because if we hit them for 1 damage with a flyer, we kill them. Okay, they have to Simulacrum the Gargoyle to stay alive. Take 1 more damage so they can't just combat trick the Gargoyle? Probably. They have to spend the 4 this way, instead of maybe less mana for a combat trick. Three mana up after that. I guess I can have 4 mana up by playing my land for turn alongside it, and then I can play a flyer that turn. Okay. I think we are playing the Emissary so that I can play Auxiliary, hold up a counterspell to try to kill them next turn. Although I will give the Eldrazi Spawn Exalted so that they're both lethal threats, even if they kill the Emissary so that they can't attack at all. Cool. Yeah, I could not have killed them with my support ability because it's a May ability whether they draw the 2 and lose 2. So if I chose to put a counter on Gargantua, they could have just said, no, I would not like to draw the 2 cards and lose the 2 life. That would be cute, though, if it wasn't a May ability. But we do get there in the end. We are now 3-0, undefeated so far, heading into round 4. We'll see if we just get an exact repeat of yesterday's draft, the 3-0 into 0-3 with the blue-white energy deck twice in a row. I don't know. We'll see how it goes as we head into game 4. Alright, game 4. Got a Harvester to do some digging to try to find the white sources if I don't naturally draw them, and I am on the draw to naturally draw them. I think with a Looter, like the Harvester, we can keep this, despite the lack of white mana. If they kill the Harvester, we're going to have a really bad time. But that's only if they have cheap removal to kill the Harvester and we don't draw White Source. So multiple things have to go wrong, which is less likely than just one thing going wrong. I just realized the Harvester is actually really good with that bounce spell. Makes it cost 2 mana. I don't even have to use it. Alright, I am glad they didn't kill Harvester, because we gotta use it right now. We need to hit land 3. Let's check if there's a land. There was no land in the top 4, baby. Get rid of one of the 5 drops, probably. We have Meddler, Unfathomable Truths, and Voltstorm Angel. Angel's definitely the strongest. The arguments between Meddler and Unfathomable Truths. We've got a Scry 2, draw 1, so we have decent value here. I think I can ditch the draw 3. If we can survive till late game, we're not really going to be behind in cards. We're going to be behind on board because there's no lands in the top 4+ cards. We just cannot play spells. So we can't put anything on board. And we're really getting hit hard too because they're pretty aggressive. Alright. 5th draw is a land. We can try to be in this game. 2/3 body blocks Vampire Well, kind of forces them to adapt there. But the 2/2 for the draw plus Scry 2 makes it a lot more likely to hit land 4 then next turn, which is still important. We got a lot of high mana value stuff, and being able to cast 2 spells in 1 turn would be a big deal. Sick. There we go. I guess I can put them in this order, right? Because I haven't played... I've already played a land for turn right now. So this is my land to play next turn, and then I draw Demon Inferior, and then by the time I can play another land, I'll draw the island. Even if I don't use the Tempest Harvester. I could kill that on a double block, but I would lose the Harvester. Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. You can just pay a bunch of life to cast black spells for free if they don't have any generic mana in the cost. It looks like they are not going to do that. Alright, would I want to mill a card here to just dig through my deck faster? Next turn I'm probably playing Riddlegate Gargoyle and Demon Inferior on Crick. By using Harvester again. Pretty mana efficient. I could also just play an Area Auxiliary though. Get some higher toughness on board, let them do Crick things, and then bounce Crick after it's a little bigger. Yeah, I think I'll just keep the hand here. More importantly, keep the energy. Got a lot of really good cards to affect the board here. To try to keep the board state cluttered. The Auxiliary puts a bunch of toughness on the board. The Meddler is just a big creature, plus we stun their best threat. We can bounce their scariest threat, make them redraw it a couple turns later. So I do like the hand in this kind of position, but I am definitely scared of what they have. Wormcoil Larva. Alright, that's not actually that bad for me, because that's a fine Demon Inferior target. Actually a better Meddler target. For now. And we start chipping away in the sky. Since we have plenty to lock things down on the ground at this point. Warren's Soul Trader. They can sack creatures to get treasures, so they can get both the tokens out of the Wormcoil Larva whenever they need them. So I think we're exclusively attacking in the sky at this point, if that wasn't already the case. Close life totals here. We might need to get a Riddlegate Gargoyle lifelink swing going in. They're about to get a Dream Drinker Vampire lifelink swing. And a big Crick swing. If they've got another black spell, Crick attacking in as a 5/5 is a huge deal. Okay, looks like they do not. On a 5. Oh yeah, they're about to gain 3, never mind. I was gonna say maybe there's some way we could find lethal. Currently we deal 4 in the sky by putting a counter on that. If we like top deck the Exalted thing, that would have been lethal if they didn't have the life gain, but they had the life gain that I forgot about. Play an Auxiliary and a Deem Inferior. We Deem Inferior on Crick. I feel like it's better to just play an Auxiliary and a Riddlegate Gargoyle, but then they're going to have a lot of lifelink on the swing, on the crackback. Try to make it so they only have Wormcoil Larva. Still so hard to race, because they could put like a Dross Claw on it and it's a 4-power lifelinker. So either way, they gain 4 off the attack. If I bounce Crick or if I bounce the Larva. Maybe we set up a Zealot then. So I can Deem Inferior Crick, and then I can start tapping down Wormcoil Larva with the Zealot. The amount of damage output Auxiliary could get in the sky, though, could maybe outrace the life gain. I'm gonna try to get that flying power just out here right now. Means ditching Zealot? Maybe I ditch the Aether Spike. Yeah, it's pretty late for that. But I Deem Inferior Crick to stop all that life gain, and I play an Auxiliary. And then we have 7 power in the sky. But the shields are down a little bit more doing this than if I just played Zealot. But they'd also have like 1 more attacker. So sure, I'd have 1 more blocker up. Well, I'd have 2 more blockers up because the Harvester would have been up as well. Ugh, I don't know. It is a close race here. Feels a little extra risky to send the Meddler in as well. But that would force a chump. But they could just chump the Unearther. Oh no, they have the removal for the Flyer. So now they definitely survive the swing next turn. They just gain 4 here. Man, yeah, no, it's just too much life gain. Crick and Larva here, so much lifelink on their board. I mean, if I Meddler into the Wormcoil Larva, then we do reduce the power of their lifelinking attacker to 2 next turn. They just put the Dross Claw onto the... Oh no, it's a 2/1, so it'd still be 3 lifelink attacking in next turn. Take it then. I guess if they had double Ghost Fire Slice, they get to kill me now. Okay, cool. Probably Zealots and Gargoyle over Voltstorm Angel and Gargoyle, so that I can set up the taps in the future. Well, if I Voltstorm Angel and Gargoyle, I'm threatening 8, 10 flying damage. Gaining 0 this turn just feels like it's so likely I die, though. I mean, I guess I have 4 blockers up. I take 1 from Gatekeeper from them playing Crick, 1 from Dross Claw, so I'm at 2. I chump Larva and block the other stuff well. I mean, I guess I get a lifelink off of this swing, playing Gargoyle and Angel. Yeah, no, so I definitely don't die on the crackback. Yeah, and this is way more likely to kill them next turn than Zealot would be, but Zealot would be maybe a little better if the game goes long, because then I can start trying to tap down their biggest lifelink attacker. This is a stressful game. Quite the race when each player is just gonna do annoying lifelink things. So now they redraw a Crick and it's not enough? Because their last card in hand was a mountain there? I think we did it. I don't think they can not take a million in the sky now. Yeah, they're just going to gain what life they can, and then they have no blockers for all the flyers. And we send it all in for like 12 damage, because we can buff everybody with Voltstorm Angel. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Close game there. Scary amount of lifelink from the opponent, but flyers just being consistently good. They had just nothing that can block flyers in their deck. So we have broken the 3-0 glass ceiling. We are now 4-0, at least an above average record here, leaving with pretty much as many gems as we spent for the event, basically the break-even point. But we'll see if we can't win another game or two and get in the money on this one. All right, here we are for game number 5. Got a very good turn 3 where I get to hold up Aether Spike and play an Electrozo if we don't do it. Alright, now we have even more options of what to do at instant speed. But if we don't Brain Surge at instant speed, having it to go with the Demon Fear later is nice. God dang it. Should have been on the play, noob. That's the only way we could have countered Propagator Drone. But like an absolute fool, we chose to be on the draw on this one. Propagator Drone's an incredibly big problem because there's a lot of ways to make a lot of Eldrazi spawns pretty easily. And with them having Evolve, basically if they play any creature, they get a +1/+1 counter on all of their Eldrazi spawn tokens. And they end up just doing infinite amounts of damage really, really quick. Landscape to go with the Brain Surge is really spicy. I guess I don't want to crack it till I play a Brain Surge in the same turn anyway, so we just play another blue source with all these blue spells in hand. We don't need this on board till we have 4 mana. See, that sucks. Because even if I counter it, which I'm gonna do, they get 2 Eldrazi spawn. They're gonna be 1/2s and then 2/3s really quickly. That's a bummer. Yeah. Completely wasn't even thinking about that, but actually, that is a huge downside for counterspells in this format, that all the Eldrazi spells will still get some value even if you counterspell them. That's really quite nasty. I guess I could Demon Fury the Propagator Drone here at least. Brain Surge and do that. And still shuffle away the cards I tuck next turn if I really want to, but I'm just going to cast Voltstorm Angel next turn. I feel like it's probably worth Demon Furying the Propagator Drone, though, which means I should probably just get the mana cost discount on it. Be able to cast both these spells. Emrakul's Messenger. When they draw their second card each turn, they get another Eldrazi spawn. There's a tap land. That's it. We can cast Voltstorm Angel and pray for no removal, or we can cast a Riddlegate Gargoyle and Electrozoa, and then we're not as disappointed if they have removal, and even if they don't, we can still set that up to be a good auxiliary play next turn. I don't mind that. I feel like it's a little less risky, because we've played no creatures all game, so if they have any removal, it's still in there ready to go. It's got to be the 4 damage removal spell, though. I guess I could have played Gargoyle and Tempest Harvester to shuffle away this island if I really don't want it. Which I kind of don't. Guess they had the bounce spell. Oh, gross. Exile an artifact or enchantment because that's an artifact. Rough. That's a pretty massive 2-for-1. At least we got rid of one of their spawns. They just have 1, 2, 3 body off the Propagator Drone, but that's still nasty. And cast a single Voltstorm Angel, or I could cast Harvester and Auxiliary. Voltstorm Angel, the much more stronger card individually. But Harvester is really good with all this energy, and we've got extra lands. And again, Angel does crumble to a single removal spell. Maybe the wider board is still solid. Oh, Riddle Keeper's an excellent finisher. Stuns the 2 best creatures on your opponent's board and slams a 5/5 flyer down. Be hard to break through that. At least they're completely out of Eldrazi spawn now. Tiny bit of something. But we're going to take some considerable hits here. Another area auxiliary is actually pretty great. It honestly might be better than Voltstorm Angel. No, it's better to play this now, because I can still play it next turn and get all the counters on the board from it. We do have pretty insanely massive flying attacks next turn at this point. Yeah, so they just pass. They're scared. We finally get to crack the landscape. Ooh, it's a big one. Petrifying Meddler, is that better than casting Area Auxiliary right now? Certainly is, isn't it? Stunning down the 5/5 flyer means they have no good blocks in the sky, and we get a huge swing. They also don't have a particularly big counterattack here. There's a chump, take 8. Let's go. Noid Altasar is big. That could give them enough blockers to live another turn. So just one really big reach blocker is not enough, I'm pretty sure. Block there, take 8. Yeah, take 9 damage actually. Even more because the auxiliary. They are super dead. With just one reach blocker. But just in case we're terra bad at math, we can throw a little bit more damage on the board. Voodoo, voodoo. Go to combat. +1/+1. They block the 6 and take 9. And they are dead. We are now 5-0, guaranteed to be in the money for our first draft in a little while here, so feels pretty nice, but we'll see how far that this deck can take it as we head into game 6. Here we are now for game number 6. We got blue and white thanks to the landscape. We got a counterspell up on 2, then 3-drop into 4-drop into 5-drop curve. Sure. Alright, well now we're just not going to hold up a counterspell, I think, because we can go Slith into Emissary and then Auxiliary puts a counter on 2 cards. Although Slith is really bad against Charge Bug, the 2/1 body just never attacks into it, so I'm actually going to hold off. See if they play a good redrop to counter. Because the next time we're going to be holding up the mana for our counterspell is once we have 5. Will be some time. That's counterable enough. Now we just cast multiple auxiliaries in a row, I guess. Another Zealot resolves. That is a lot of tapping they can do. Okay. Well, here we go. I wonder what we're doing here. Might have been worth putting an Exalted counter on each of these just to hit a tiny bit harder, because we do have 2 more energy we can have at the ready, because I don't think we're ever spending the first strike. Spending the energy on the first strike ability with the Slith. At this point of the game. We might end up just putting an Exalted counter on something next turn. Like, it could end up being one of those situations where, like, the best time to do it was yesterday, but the second best time is now. Alright, get that Menace swing in. No one gets to block today, baby. Aether Revolt. Uh-oh. So every time they get energy, they shoot whatever they want, including my face. And if they revolt and lost a card, it's going to be even worse for me. Alright. We're highly unlikely to be able to block against Charge Bug nonsense, so we're just on the full race here. Which means Exalted is irrelevant, because it's more damage to send in with both creatures when they're both getting +1/+1 counters. Let's see how bad this Aether Revolt goes for us. We might just straight up die to some amount of energy production, because they already have 4 damage on board to put me to 10. So if they can revolt and lose a permanent, and then they get 5 energy, this would double the damage. Oh, it doesn't double, it just makes it that much plus 2. Okay. 5 separate instances of get 1 energy? Or no, a couple separate instances would be good, right? Yeah, so get 2 energy would be deal 4 damage if they revolted. But they have not revolted. Oh! Wow. Well, that's filthy. They have turned a static prison into double removal off of the 8th revolt, and we now have no flyers. Gross. And then they just crack in for like 4, and then make a little bit of energy, crack in with everybody, and kill me next turn. I guess I can put another Exalted counter on the board now, because there will be a little bit of damage. Ooh! Hold up. Hold up a second. I kind of want to put all the Exalted counters onto the Emissary, because it's the least likely to die to burn from 8th Revolt. These die to, like, any amount of energy production. But I do save 2 to get some lifelink here. Think. Nice. Riddlegate Gargoyle was a live draw. So they could Zealot down the Gargoyle and the Emissary, but then I still get to attack with a, what, 5 power Hexgold Slith? Yeah, they need some kind of spell in their hand. Or they are behind now, even with that 8th Revolt. But if they have a good energy spell, like just another Zealot or something, then they're doing pretty good. If they have a very good energy spell, like the Big Angel or something, then they're doing great. Welcome, Charge Bug. I am not going to give you Revolt. I will take 1 damage to stop that. Alright. Destroy the flyer. They can tap both my creatures with both Zealots. Ooh, they can double Reiterating Bolt the Emissary. Plus still have Zealots left. Alright, we're in a top deck war, but I have tons of card draw here. Sure, I just play Auxiliary and force them to spend energy. I guess we can just offer Slith for Zealot trade. Still have 1 Zealot left to tap down Auxiliary a couple turns. So it's not, like, great, but I think it's probably worth it. We have more cards to play around with than they do. We have draw 10 in our hand. I do have to tuck away 2, so it's more like a draw 8, but still. Oh yeah, and they have to spend energy on the Prism. Because if that Auxiliary ever escapes, that's a big deal. Gotta stage a prison break, everybody. Gotta tattoo the prison layout onto our back. Take another 1 every turn, down to 14. The missed land draw is rough there. They... Do I have any 1 or 2 drops? I don't have any 1 drops in this deck, but I could draw Tempest Harvester as a blue 2-drop, Aether Spike as a blue 2-drop, a Johnny as a white 2-drop, and Riddlegate Gargoyle. There's 2 copies of that. That would need both colors. I guess I hold up a blue. There's slightly more 2-drops that need blue than need white. So any land draw plus a blue 2-drop means I get to cast another spell this turn. Oh, I forgot about Demon Inferior. Kind of sick. I don't think it wins right now, but... yeah, because they can respond to me using it on the Zealot to just tap Auxiliary anyway, and I don't want them to be able to recast the Zealot. I actually just don't even think I cast that right now. I just save that for a rainy day, because we don't want them to redraw anything that produces energy. I guess them redrawing the Aether Revolt wouldn't be that bad. But also they could maybe just put that on the bottom and be fine with it. Okay, that's 2 damage. They need another energy card in hand for that to actually kill something. Oh no, a permanent left the board because the Static Prison died. Oh my god. Conduit Goblin actually a sick top deck? Yeah, if we had Demon Fury, the Aether Revolt, then we'd still have the flyer there. That would be why we might need to do that. Dang. Alright, I'm still really ahead in cards, but the not Demon Furying the Aether Revolt play, it's really not worked out. I did not put 2 and 2 together that they were guaranteed to have a Revolt trigger next turn to double up any energy damage they had. So any 2 energy card would be enough to kill one of my flyers. I did not see that coming. So we're on Prying Meddler, Stun the Zealot, probably? No, because then they can just block with Charge Bug or Goblin or anything. Maybe I'm on Unfathomable Truth's Demon Inferior this turn. Just trying to get to enough mana to play like multiple creatures in one turn in the future. That could be a really big deal. I will Demon Inferior the Revolt this time. Any 3 energy cards would just kill the Auxiliary. They do put it on the bottom. Yeah, that is rough. We didn't miss lethal quite by not getting rid of the Aether Revolt. We would have put them to 1 there. But then we would have been able to lethal them the next turn because they'd only have the 1. Oh, shoot. This is real bad. We need to play many blockers. Isn't lethal, though, because we have 1 chump. And they can only menace up to 1 card. So they don't get to, like, swing all and kill me. They have to hold the Zealot off still. Oh, and I guess they can't afford to do the menace thing, or they're dead. Also. Because then they're not tapping the flyer. Well, not dead, but they're in a bad spot. Okay. So now I have a really good target for this, and I can play another creature in the same turn. Feels ideal. I could see a tiny argument for hitting the Charge Bug with the stun so that they can't have Menace on another creature they play, because if they play any creature that comes with energy, they can use 1 energy for Haste from Goblin and 1 energy for Menace from Charge Bug. But the Charge Bug has to attack to give the Menace. The Goblin doesn't have to attack to give Haste. Ooh, area auxiliary's a good one. Sturdy up those blocks. I have 6, 7, 8, so I can cast both of these and keep the Eldrazi spawn around. Don't have enough power to actually do anything great on the attacks here. Could send in with both flyers. They can only block one of them, but they could just eat the gargoyle and go to 1 if they want. I guess we see what we draw into, because it could be something relevant. That's pretty relevant. I would say that's pretty relevant. That is in fact lethal. Just in case we somehow don't lethal, let's gain a little life. But we do lethal. Alright, a little sketchy stuff there. The big thing was I didn't realize the Aether Revolt plus Prison combo was going to mean double damage on any energy they played that next turn, so I should have dealt with the Revolt earlier. If we had dealt with the Aether Revolt a turn earlier, then we would have gotten the kill much quicker than that. They would have had less opportunities to draw out of it, so very well played from our opponent. We made some sloppy lines, but luckily just had strong enough stuff to draw into in the deck that we still get there in the end. And yeah, close one, but 6-0 it will be. We remain undefeated all the way into the final battle. Will this be the 7-0 all wins, just pure victory run? Or we're going to throw a loss or two in here, or even worse, 6-0 into 0-3? Fingers crossed it's not that bad. I'm going to try my hardest to get a trophy run out of this deck. Alright, here we are on the play for the final battle. Not a perfect curve out here. I mean, I guess Demon Farrier is a 3-drop, but I need to have a permanent on board for that to be relevant. But the hand still looks real good. I'm pretty happy with this one. Our opponent has taken a mulligan. That is also beneficial to us. But rough for the sanctity of the game. No! Don't mulligan into one of the best rares in the format. Get that right out of here. This card is busted in half. Every creature they play comes with an energy, and it only takes 3 energy to put 2+1/+1 counters and flying onto a creature permanently. So if they just play a 2-drop that comes with 2 energy, we lose. And there they go. We don't actually lose because we have the interaction this time, but just Guide of Souls into any 2-drop that makes 2 energy is just like an insta-win combo to any deck that does not have the interaction to respond on the next turn. Luckily, I have that interaction. And I think I need to just do it. Be really nice to wait a turn, because then I could Serum Visionary and do it if I hit a land, but that's too risky. They could just play another, like, Hexgold Slith and just wombo combo me out of here. Just give the Slith flying instead. Don't put anything on that Slith, please. No. Wow. I see what they mulliganed. They were like, well, my 6-card hand is actually just going to be the Stone Cold Nuts, so we obviously mulliganed towards that. Okay, we need to make sure we hit our land drops here, so we have to use Harvester. That is not a land drop. Visionary is a nice backup plan for our play next turn. We keep that for sure. Meddler buys us some time, and Angel's a great finisher. I kind of want to ditch one of the auxiliaries. I feel like we have enough card draw to try to draw 2 more lands here. And just keep 1 4-drop and then multiple 5s. Mana base. If I draw, discard, and immediately hit a 4-drop, I get to play an auxiliary next turn. Or sorry, this turn. If I miss, I still play a Serum Visionary. Yeah. Okay. So now we play... What do we play? Auxiliary into Meddler into Voltstorm Angel these next 3 turns is probably the general plan. Which means we ditch the Serum Visionary or the Gargoyle, because those won't be played for some time. Probably the Visionary, because I'll likely need lifelink to get back in this game. And here comes the bomb rare. It has returned. There it is, Guide of Souls. Any 2 energy producing card would make a flying slith, but it doesn't even need flying right now. It's already just an unstoppable snowball. Just a boulder the size of Jupiter rolling down that hill. Oh, thank goodness. I mean, missing the land is kind of rough, but thanks to Harvester's ability, if they don't kill it in response to me playing Gargoyle, then I can use Harvester and Demon Inferior this turn. I don't see why they would kill Harvester instead of Auxiliary if they're going to kill something right now in response to casting the Gargoyle. Alright, cool. Well, I can't discard Demon Inferior. Feels pretty dang wrong to discard the land, right? Do I discard Voltstorm Angel? Because I need to crack a landscape before I can play that? I don't love having to discard here, but I think it was worth it to be able to play Gargoyle and Demon Inferior in the same turn. Don't worry about it. I'm going to top deck lands, runner. We're all good. Don't worry about it. Disregard. Okay, cool. You may have your dog, Umbra. You. Too much main deckable naturalizes? I mean, we did beat every other main deck naturalize we ran up against today, so maybe not. Maybe we're fine. Okay, so the Guide of Souls doesn't care who attacks. It can put the counters on the attacking creatures, so we stun the 2/2, I guess. At 7 life, I don't think I can afford to just not stun something. But I guess if I play a 4/4 flyer and their last card in hand isn't removal, they don't attack in anyway. Because they play the Hexgold Slith, they have 3 energy thanks to Guide of Souls. They attack, put 2 counters and flying on a creature. Well, no, they would be attacking with a 4/4 flying enchanter. Never mind. I guess we let them attack with a 4/4 flyer, go to 3, and then start lifelinking the angel in afterwards. But then we get to stun the flying creature with Meddler, which is a huge deal. To keep the lifelink going in. I feel like that makes sense. Whoa. Absolutely not. Go to 3. And then go back to 7. Oh my god. Oh my god. Another 3 energy. Meddler the Enchanter. They get to send in with a Slith now as a 4-power flyer. So we go back to 7, but then we go back down to 3, and then they get to attack with both the things. We just need, like, hard removal for this Guided Souls thing. This thing has completely demolished our souls. It's guided our souls straight into the garbage bin. Oh, the Meddler has reach! Oh my god, the Meddler has reach. That's huge. I did not even realize that. Meddler having reach is a massive deal on this board. Just not master for now, and then they give that the counters probably. Sick. Well. Electrozoa, not a bad one. I don't think I can afford to discard to this thing anymore. And I've got a lot of draw spells in the deck that I'd need to cast a draw spell and play land for turn after casting the draw spell for. So I'm just going to play this land out. But I basically need the Electrozoa mana to keep the Electrozoa up later or to get another lifelink swing. That ain't good. Luckily they're still... Oh no, they are. They can just double up? This doesn't even like stop you from putting the counters on an angel. It's like, it could become a double angel, sure. Why not? Man. 6 power, I have to lose Electrozoa and Meddler, or one or the other between Angel and Meddler, and either way this Not Master is now a 4-4, and then they attack with it, make it a 6-6. Good grief, man. Keep the 4-5. That stops a non... It stops a 2-power attacker from turning into a 4-4 angel and getting in. I do love how it ended up being relevant that I didn't hold on to the card in hand. Didn't you reveal yourself as the top card when I shuffled my library? How are you still there? Pretty suspicious, I think. Well, we're super dead. I mean, Guide of Souls, GG, pretty much. We tried all we could there, but it was unwinnable from like turn 3. Here we are on the draw, unfortunately, for game number... a lot. We're on like number 8 now. Just got absolutely deleted by a bomb rare last game. Hopefully we can do a little more this time. Make things at least a bit more even. Alright, so far so good. Ironworks does not work yet. Doesn't give them any energy when they play it, right? So I could just Demon Inferior it. Since they currently have no creatures on board and they have no flyers, I also kind of like just going wide. Playing more creatures right now. Yeah, I'm going to want to keep hitting land drops pretty bad, so Serum Visionary does look quite good. The only issue is that it allows them to play some creature that comes with energy and have the spell resolve. But we can still just hit them with a bunch of flyers. The Ironworks does not stop flying creatures with the 3/3 golems, or doesn't make flying creatures. Either way you want to put it. Discharge the Gargoyle and have exactly enough energy to make a golem. That is a fantastic removal spell to have there. Removal spell for 1 mana plus get the energy. Pretty gross. Can't really do anything particularly good here. Probably holding up Aether Spike whenever I hit my 5th land, because then I can Unfathomable Truths if I don't cast Aether Spike. Still cast a spell here. Get more flyers. You know what, attack in was probably fine. Because they probably don't want to block, because then they don't get to attack and get an energy back. We probably could have just cashed in for 3 damage there, since neither of us really wants these creatures to die right now. I think I missed out on 3 points of damage. Like, we'll never know, maybe they would have blocked, but probably not. It's probably just 3 free points of damage. Gross. And the missed land draw is gross as well. We hit a blue source in the top 4 and we get to Demon Inferior alongside this. This is a big deal. Cool. Okay, so this turn I'm playing a Demon Inferior. I guess holding up an Aether Spike, but their board's good enough. I don't think I can just hold up an Aether Spike now. What am I even deeming, though? I'm just deeming an Ironworks that already gave them 2 golems. It stops them from getting more. Ironworks plus Generatorium is really, really bad for me, because they get 2 energies from attacking. 2/3 of the way towards another golem. Okay, so we're playing a land right now, and we need to draw a land next turn. So what is the 1 spell we're just not going to play next turn, almost definitely? Probably Meddler. We're probably double spelling. Well, the game would have played way different if we had just Demon Inferior the Ironworks the second we saw it. Maybe that's something we're just supposed to do in the future when we see blue-red from our opponent. Just be like, nope, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Oh yeah, they can just instantly redraw it. But they have to spend their whole turn on it. And they don't have enough energy for another golem yet. And then we can deem it again. I could Unfathomable Truths and deem it here. Like 8 on the crackback? This is sketch. I guess I'll have an Eldrazi spawn. I mean, if I Unfathomable Truths and Deem Inferior, then they can just use Harvester again to redraw it again, cast it, get the energy, make a 3/3 next turn still. They're at 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can have 8 power in this guy. We probably should have just been team Riddlegate Gargoyle pre-combat. I think we're trying to get to that, like, close to lethal in this guy here. Alright, new Golem mana. Or new Golem energy. Get the Golem. Draw a card for paying 4. Play a land. We can't let them get rid of our lifelink, like, at all, I'm pretty sure. They have their own Aether Spike, that'd be pretty gross. Yup. Well, that might seal it. Need to block a lot of stuff without lifelink. I got a 1-drop too? Apparently, because it's still holding for them. They've got a 1-mana. Oh my god, dude. Oh, that's real good. That's real nice. Rip Bozo? Two blockers and a Demon Fury. Block, block, Deem. Take 2. Another Golem. Need something better. I'm gonna guess Meddler like just eats a 3/3. Maybe that's actually the best play. Oh no. Oh my god, landfall is 2 energy because it's Generatorium now off this cartographer. We know they don't have a land in hand because if they did, they would have played that immediately for the energy. Seven mana. 5 for this and still have Demon Inferior or Electrozoa, but not both. I feel like I have to deem the cartographer thing now. And cast an Electrozoa to start hitting them for 3 a turn. Save the Unfathomable Truths for now. I think... Put it on the bottom. Flash Fire is really good. Because they can attack with that. Oh, I know we have reach on the 4/5, never mind. But it gives them enough creatures to threaten lethal here if we didn't have a flash creature, so it is going to get them to attack and start getting their energy. They top deck the bounce spell, so we don't even block here. Block, take, yeah. Alright, man. Oh, what a bummer. That one was certainly winnable with like perfect hindsight, because I just didn't know they were going to have like the perfect Rube Goldberg machine there, where we could have bounced the Ironworks early and that would have completely changed those early turns of the game. We should have absolutely just demon inferior the Ironworks turn 3, and then the game would be super winnable from there, but I had never seen the Izzet energy deck pop off like this, where they get these things going together so dang well. That was ridiculous. This really is Magical Christmas Land, the format. All these synergy cards together, you have got to just rip some piece of the synergy chain out to stop these things. Really not my kind of format, honestly. I much prefer, like, trying to be mana efficient and curving out and stuff like that. In this format, it's like, there's things people can set up, you just have to hard stop and do nothing. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to do absolutely nothing but hold up a counterspell here. I'm going to do absolutely nothing but remove that. I don't know. I'm not jiving with the set so far, but we are 6-2 this time at least, so maybe this is our first draft. We get our trophy run here. We'll find out. We are heading into the final battle. Final game of Magic, win or lose. And unfortunately, it's going to be one from behind here. We are on the draw, and the hand is not great, but we can't really mulligan it when we have both of our colors and reasonable spells. And so far, we are 3 for 3 on land draws. So we are in the flood zone. Or sorry, 2 for 2 on land draws. It's just that we started with a 4-lander, so any land is real flooded. Alright. Tell your next turn, whenever a creature attacks your planes or gets -2, so okay, so it just doesn't. We don't attack this turn then. They get a bunch of clue tokens to draw a bunch of cards later. That seems fine. Probably have a Victimize here they're going to try to cast. Reanimate those, which means we need to just hold up Aether Spike instead of playing Auxiliary, because that's the only way that discard makes a lot of sense. We hit them for 2, then they hit for 2. Seems fine. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Discard the Ophiomancers. I'm trying to figure out what they would have that they'd want to do that. Just really need mana, I guess. But then why would you draw the cheap card, the little 2-drop? Well, I know I have the mana to play Auxiliary and hold up an Aether Spike next turn, so I think we're just never gonna tap out of a counterspell this game. At this rate. Does give them some good time to use all their clue tokens, while they know we have a bunch of mana up. Put 1 less power on board by playing a Riddlegate Gargoyle here than if we played an Auxiliary, but it means that when we play the Auxiliary we have more cards to put +1/+1 counters onto, which is a little better in the grand scheme of things. Psychic Frog's a pretty massive deal. Emperor Bones is an even bigger deal. Alright, well, we countered 2 bomb rares. Hopefully there will not be a third. But now I can afford to tap out, which is kind of nice. Most power we put on the board is by playing Auxiliary here. I could Deem Inferior this Germ, but we really don't need to because it's not blocking anything anyway, so I'm going to save Deem Inferior. Or if they do play a third bomb on us or something. Curse Marauder's a bummer. Means we do not have lethal on board anymore. Chthonian Nightmare. The X energy, sack a creature, return it to their hand to return a card with mana value X from your grave to the battlefield. So 3 energy creature, just get another Accursed Marauder. Forget the Emperor of Bones. Yeah. Wow, that card's going to be incredibly annoying. You play any creature alongside Chthonian Nightmare and do Accursed Nightmare things again. Or Accursed Marauder things again. Wow. Yeah, no, Chthonian Nightmare, Accursed Marauder is like, how on earth do we even win against that? Like, we just can't keep anything on board now? I guess we'll find out. Think I have to try to play another permanent here? So they have to be able to Accursed Marauder twice to stop us from hitting them. We've got the Deem Inferior to get rid of a blocker. God dang it. Now they're locking us out. Luckily the Utter End's actually very bad with the Accursed Marauder, because now I just sack the Petrifying Meddler. So at least there's that. Unless they find a colorless source to exile this, then their Accursed Marauder is actually pretty bad now. Bespoke Battle Wagon. They do not have the energy to stop me from hitting them for 1 or to crew that automatically, so we do get to hit for 1. Make it 2. Let's go. But now they can have 5 mana for the Chthonian Nightmare, which is annoying. So we probably have to Deem Inferior the Battle Wagon, right? They need another creature to Chthonian Nightmare, but if they can do that, they can do it for 5. Which is still just going to be a Accursed Marauder. This rate, I think. Battle Wagon goes to the bottom. They have a creature to go with the Nightmare. Looks like they don't have a creature. But they've got removal to not die. They're going to take 2. They need to draw into a creature for Chthonian Nightmare. Or they could die to a 2/2. Here goes the top deck war. 3 life to 14. But Chthonian Nightmare to a 2/2. So far, so good. They've got 1 more turn to draw out. Petrifying Meddler is an out and a half. Oh my god. I can bring back the Emperor of Bones with the Chthonian Nightmare now. Then still have the Chthonian Nightmare for later. They get to keep sacking the cards that they bring back with Emperor of Bones. Well, they could sack a card that they bring back with Emperor of Bones, because Emperor of Bones brings cards back for just 1 turn, and then they get sacked in the end step. But they could sack one of those cards to Chthonian Nightmare to bring something else back forever. This is real bad. We've got some draw 3 spells in this deck. We haven't drawn any of them. And we've got tons of lands on the board so that I could cast one of those and still cast multiple spells afterward. So those are our biggest draws. Are our draw 3s and draw 4s and stuff. Yeah. Emperor Bones. Let's combo on out of here. Got enough energy with the Nightmare to even get the 7 drop back now. And they can get the 7 drop back just by sacking something that's going to get exiled anyway next turn. We're getting mega bombed out right now. Electrozoa could be just a oops I win kind of moment, being a flash flyer. Buried alive? Oh no. Literally put the best 3 creatures in their deck in their grave. Double reform to go with the Nightmare? Oh my god. Well, that's all non-flying creatures. So maybe we might be able to still cheese out an Electrozoa win here. But if they Emperor of Bones any lifelink, that could be bad. If they Emperor Bones the lifelinker and equip the Dross Claw before they attack. Oh wait, they might get lethal here, actually. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? 12, 13? 13 is not lethal. Plus they didn't equip the Dross Claw anyway, so it's just 11. Well, do they have enter the battlefield damage triggers to me? No. Go to 3. Cursed Marauder, sure, goodbye. Meddler. Chthonian Nightmare. They can only do as a sorcery. This is the end step, so we just play a Flash Flyer. I mean, really just any flash creature. Attack. Oh my god! Narrowly defeat the crazy Graveyard Synergy Bombs there. That was a really cool deck from our opponent. But we just managed to get way too much damage early. They almost had a massive recovery, though. That was insane. If we didn't have the counterspell for the Psychic Frog and the Emperor of Bones early, like without the double counterspell, we had no shot here. So it was so lucky to have the double counter there early to just keep that pressure on while they were still setting up their crazy Graveyard Synergies. But they got them set up almost just in time. It turns out just a tiny bit too late because we can draw into those Flash Flyers. Crazy games today. We get a nice 7-2 with a rareless deck. We absolutely take those. Our second loss was unfortunately pretty self-imposed. Again, just not the greatest at threat assessment in this format. They had the Ironworks, and I was like, on board it doesn't do too much, but then they just hit like insane Rube Goldberg machine synergies for that thing where if I had just dealt with it immediately and they got no golems for a little while, it would have been a significantly better game in our favor. So could have changed the outcome of that a lot. So keeping in mind these kind of synergy combo pieces, little stuff like that are potentially massive threats that you should try to interact with is one of the big learning moments of this draft. But our other loss, I mean, we just got completely bombed out by the Soul Guide, which is fair enough. That is going to happen. So another look at the deck. Did we have a bomber? Oh, we did have an Ajani. Ajani showed up only one time, though, so I forgot about him. But we did have one bomb rare in there hiding. This is not the rareless deck. Our rare was just very shy today. we got to cast one Ajani that got insta-killed, which was still fine because we still got the 2/1 cat out of him. So that Ajani did pull 2 removal spells from our opponent off of the 1 card, which is part of the value of this card, is that it can just 2 for 1 your opponent, forcing them to kill both these creatures. So Ajani did some excellent work the 1 game he showed up, so it is inaccurate to say that we are rareless, that we are bombless. We're just rare lights. We have some shy rares in here. Anyways, the synergies were great. The deck was great. I personally prefer our last blue-white deck a tiny bit because we had like more scary bomby stuff in there, but I think some of the biggest weaknesses in our last blue-white deck were interaction-wise. Those Umbras, the dog Umbras, ended up playing just really badly, really consistently. Those are the 2-mana auras that you can flash in to stop a creature from attacking and blocking. There's just way too many creatures in this format with really relevant abilities when they're on board. Even if they don't get to attack and block, they're just still doing things like letting you pay energy for this or that, or anything like that, or they got good value when they entered the battlefield. A lot of abilities and stuff like that Dog Umber just doesn't stop. So that played actually pretty poorly, to where having a couple counter spells like Aether Spikes and then the bounce spells like Demon Fury actually played like much better interaction. Plus it's a tiny bit more interaction this time, like 5 pieces instead of like 3 or 4 that we had last time. So I think that's the biggest improvement this deck has over the other one. Also more gargoyles is always the more the merrier. But yeah, Ajani was a big improvement, but not really in terms of how the games played out, because Ajani only showed up once. But yeah, solid stuff. I like the archetype a lot. I like the deck a lot. I liked our last deck just as much, but this one does considerably better as our first trophy run of the entire format at 7-2 for some massive prize out this time. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.